Hey, good afternoon, folks. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Everyone else, welcome back. Glad to see you, sort of, I guess. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So this is part 4 of getting to know your rights as laid out in the American Constitution. So this is going to be a little bit of an oversimplification of the Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which reads as guards against unreasonable searches, arrests, and seizures of property. So this goes back, much like other aspects of our constitutional law. It has its roots in English history. This goes back to the motherland that is England, in that even the king had certain limitations on what they can do as far as searching a residence for. Really, it goes back to taxes. But U.S. colonies did not have the same kind of protection because, first off, we were colonies. So the rules and laws really didn't necessarily apply, and there was such a push in the 1700s, 1750s on searching people's properties for revenue, for tax purposes. So the way the Constitution is set up, and we're going to go over a couple of gray areas and a couple of issues around it. So basically, you as a person are secure in your artifacts, your possessions. That the police and law enforcement cannot just simply roll up into your house, start looking for things. If you want to search my property, now there's going to be a little asterisk next here. Again, I'm not a legal scholar. I'm just giving you the overview of this. But what you got going on is, if the police want to search your house, they can ask you, may we search the property? You can then decline. They have to go to a judge, a magistrate, to present some minimal threshold as to why a warrant would be justified. Now, warrants themselves used to be very specific up until, I believe, the 1970s. I might have to fact check myself on that. But up until that point in time, you could only look for what was called the tools of a crime or the fruits of a crime. So the tools used to commit the crime, or the money. If it was a bank job. But over the years, search warrants have become kind of a catch-all of, we suspect you of doing something, and we're going to go look for. We don't know what we're going to find, but we're going to go on a fishing expedition. Now, sometimes warrants can be very broad, in which we're going to search your entire home. They might be very specific. You might get, there's been cases where a warrant was specifically given out simply to look at, like, a back closet. Now, there is the plain sight rule, which means, all right, let's say you get pulled over by the police, and they're able to see, I don't know, there's a bloody axe sitting on the back seat of your car. Well, it's in plain sight. I don't need a search warrant to find it. Or if something falls out of your pocket, or kind of a classic scene in CSI where the lady goes to get something out of her purse and a bloody glove comes out. Well, I don't need your permission to go in your bag because it's right there. Search warrants can even extend to collecting DNA. They just can't come up and pluck a hair off of you. They have to get a search warrant for that. Now, there are some funky reach arounds, not those type of reach arounds, Pat, take it easy. But there are some workarounds that law enforcement has come up with. So, for example, you go in for questioning, and man, they really want to get that DNA sample from you. Hey, would you like something to drink? And they'll go get you a little sody and a straw, and you're sitting there, you're drinking that, and okay, we're done with your questioning. Don't worry about that soda can. We'll throw it out for you, because once something becomes garbage, that's the other thing. When you're garbage, if the garbage can is on the property, like right back of your house, they can't touch it. But once it goes onto the street for garbage collection, basically it becomes a public domain issue. Now, over the years, there's been a few issues about, if you look at the Breonna Taylor case, the police said they had a search warrant to search the home, but the reason, the evidence that they gave to get the warrant, it came out that it was very flimsy. So there's some issues with that. Other issues Searching of one's person. If the police do a pat down, I do not consent to a search. They can still search the outside. They do a pat down, but they can't go into your pockets. That again, that's a search and seizure type deal. Schools, schools are always a wonderful kind of legal battleground or test ground. Can they search can a school go through a student's backpack? Can they go through their locker? Can the police go into a school and search for a possible suspect and question them? Another major issue that has come about, and this is always a kind of a fun thing to talk to conservatives about, is civil asset forfeiture. So what winds up happening is the police do have the power to take your property without charging you with a crime. They use whatever deductive superpowers that they use, and they say, hey, you have $1,000 on you. We think you're going to go buy drugs with that, so we're going to take that money. You have to go to court and prove otherwise. John Oliver and Vice both did shows about this, and just the obscene loopholes that they use, or the way they go about doing it, in that they can seize your car, they can seize cash, they can seize property, and the like I said, the very broad powers. There was one incident where I think it was a museum, was doing a fundraiser, and they were selling booze. It was like a wine, sip and paint, or something along those lines. But the museum didn't get the proper liquor license. So rather than going there and working it out after the fact, or simply saying, hey, folks, we got to shut this part down, whatever the case may be, basically the police raided the party, then impounded all the cars, because simply going to the event was considered an act of illegal activity. And while the cars were in the impound lot, in the police impound lot, two of the cars got stolen, and the cops were like, oh, well, that's not our deal. Now, we could go a little bit even further. Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment has been used in the courts lately, really with the Patriot Act. The idea of can the government intercept your cell phones? And I shouldn't say can they technology wise. I mean, should they be able to intercept your cell phone call, your cell phone records, text messages, emails, without gaining a proper warrant? And really, under the guise of terrorism and protection of terrorism, they've kind of overstepped on that. And it always kind of comes back to the what the law actually says, or what the Fourth Amendment really says, the spirit of the law. But the idea that you should be secure in your persons, your possessions. When can the government intercede, come in, search your home? And there have been some major legal battles over it. People trying to get property back, or wrongful arrests, or property being taken when it shouldn't have been. And again, like anything else, there are some very fine points of the law that you got to go over, and sometimes there are very specific case incidents. So that's your Fourth Amendment for today. Again, I'm not a lawyer. Please don't use my name in court, and I'll be talking to you guys down the road. See ya.